24,068. That is the number of soldiers and civilians who are commemorated today. Brothers, sisters, children, parents, people. The number is vast, impossible to visualize or to meaningfully commemorate. So instead of trying to focus on all 24,068, in the first part of today's program, we turn our attention to 6 individuals who span decades and geographical regions of Israel, but who share at least one thing with one another. They died because they were Israeli. For each of these individuals, there are over 4,000 others we could have chosen. Our hope is that by bringing the stories of these 6 people to you today, we can humanize that large number and make the losses mourned on this day palatable. At this time, I'm going to ask everyone, just a reminder, to silence and put away your devices, and to please give your utmost attention and respect to the students who will be presenting.
Rahamim Mashiach was born to Abraham and Victoria on Tuesday, February 3rd, 1944 in Cairo. In 1955, Rahamim moved to Israel. Rahamim was drafted to the IDF in February of 1962, where he was in the Armored Corps. After completing a regular service period, Rahamim joined the reserve and worked as a senior official for Shoham, the city in which he lived. During that time, he got married and had his first child. When the Six-Day War broke out, Rahamim was called up to fight in Ramat HaGolan against the Syrian army. Rahamim was a tank gunner for the 37th Brigade. During a battle on the 5th day of the war, as Rahamim tried to get out of his tank, he was directly hit with a missile and was killed. He was buried in the military cemetery in Afula and was later transferred to the military cemetery in Haifa. Years later, the family saw some closure when a 13-year-old boy named Osher found some of Rahamim's personal belongings on that battleground and returned them to his family. Osher found many items of Rahamim's, including his IDF emblem and the trigger on his gun. Please turn your attention to the screen for a video of Osher presenting these items to Rahamim's family.
Hello. Hello, Emma. Hello, אחותי מזל. אחותי שרה.
אני אלישע, זה אושר, הבן שלי.
כמעט 54 שנים חלפו מאז שעזב רחמים משיח זיכרונו לברכה את הבית ולא שב אליו. היום חלק מהזיכרון שלו חזר לבית אמו.
טיילתי למטה איפה שהזחלם בעצם הוא נהרג שם. חיפשתי שם דברים שלו אולי, אם נשארו.
היה חיים שלי. היה שהלך, אין לי חיים. אין לי שום שמחה.
תודה רבה.
תהיה בריא.
תודה.
האמת שאני מרגישה ממש רעידות, רועדת. קשה מאוד.
אני שוב אומרת, אחרי 54 שנה הייתי בת 10.5, וזה יום של שכח. כאילו זה קרה טוב.
לאבד אח זה היה נורא בעיה. עד היום אנחנו מרגישים את זה, איך שלא יהיה. והוא חסר.
בשבילי רחמים היה אח, הוא היה אח הבכור, אח, חבר, אבא, כל עצה, כל דבר זה, קודם כל רחמים.
הדבר הזה מזכיר לי אותו.
Today, many monuments stand in memory of Rahamim and those who died in the battle. Yehi Zichro Baruch.
Shmuel Chajbi, a dedicated learner, grew up in Be'er Sheva in the 1960s. Shmuel spent much of his childhood, similar to us, in religious, dual curriculum schools, excelling at secular and Torah studies. Shmuel was a serious learner who felt excitement when finding deeper meanings within Limudei HaKodesh. Shmuel carried on with his committed mentality throughout his life. Shmuel attended Yeshivat Keren B'Yavne, a yeshiva that some of our alumni attend, through a Hadar program. Hadar programs are programs that combine years of yeshiva with years of military service in the IDF. Shmuel excelled in yeshiva, being known for his smart and bright, uplifting voice. Here is a brief clip of his brother speaking about him.
أوهب عبريت قرأ سفرين حبروتي وعزل أحضري بالمودي التنخ أصلاً كما مايم جمارة التقوشيات شلا حضرين شلهم هيا بيتر لهم حروس حفل على زمان.
Shmuel joined the IDF in the year of 1971, initially interning in the Nahal Armored Corps, but eventually ending up in tanks. During the days approaching the Yom Kippur War, Shmuel was sent to the north to bolster the defense of the Hermon region. On the 11th of Tishrei, one day after the war began, Shmuel Chajbi was killed in action during a battle that ensued at the Hermon outpost. A word to describe Shmuel is dedicated, as his commander said, Shmuel was an excellent soldier, dedicated to the mission and loved by all soldiers and officers in the unit. Dedication is what Shmuel did day in and day out for Hashem and the land of Israel. Shmuel was known for his impeccable memory, which was one thing that helped Shmuel in his learning. We all have what to learn from him and should remember his life and his dedication to the land of Israel. Yehi Zichro Baruch. Liel Ma'udi and Roni Naor will now sing El Eretz Tzvi.
בחצי הלילה הם קמו והיכו בקצה העולם כנראה שפחשו ירחיקו להשיב את כבוד האדם אל ארץ צבי, אל דבש נוטע, אל הכרמל והמדבר, אל עם אשר לא יחשב, שאת בניו לא יפקיר לזר. בשדותינו עכשיו ערבה אילמת דרכי נזרוש על אשר עם שחר לא שב אל ארץ צבי אל דבש שדותיה הכרמל והמדבר אל עם אשר לא באופן ומלך ימון צוחק שהושלך רימון בגופו שוחך להציל חיים וביקש אז ארץ צבי שדמעותיה אל מול קידוש השם כבשה וכשקרא שמע ישראל הרוח חרש את שמו נשא רואי השם אשמור עליך על תום דרכיך על ושכר אל ארץ צבי שנשמתך שזורה לנצח בבגד יומה שזורה לנצח בבגד יומה.
Karen Tendler was born on September 26, 1979. A girl that loved drawing fashion sketches and hiking. She loved eating malawach and hated gefilte fish, even though she was Ashkenazi. She loved sports and especially swimming.
Her greatest love of all was for helicopters and the Air Force. Her love started in high school. She wanted to serve in the Army and wanted her service to be significant and memorable. She was the first person to show up for the draft. She got there at 6 a.m., hours before the allotted time.
Nisim Hillel, her teacher throughout high school and college, recognized her enthusiasm in everything she did. She very much wanted to be in the Air Force from a young age. She had a direction, and she succeeded.
Karen was the only female mechanic in her division. She recognized that she was in a position to inspire the next generation of Israeli girls. Tendler said, "I see myself as a combat soldier, just like others. My aim is to show other girls that they can do this job too."
During the Second Lebanon War, Karen was called up to serve from the reserves, but she was not allowed to fly. She insisted that she fly, and on the night of August 12, 2006, 2 days before the end of the Second Lebanon War, she flew her division to battle, just like she had always wanted.
Once everyone in her division had left, her helicopter was hit by a rocket. She was killed, along with the rest of her crew. Please turn your attention to the screen to hear Karen's mother speak about her.
2006 נחטפו חיילים. אמרתי שאני כנראה תהיה מלחמה. היא הרגישה שמשהו לא בסדר. היא כתבה מכתב ביומן שלה. היא מבקשת מאלוהים לשמור על החיילים. כואב לה הלב על החיילים שנופלים. זאת בחורה שהייתה מוכנה להקריב את עצמה למדינה, לא נתנו לה לטוס. היא נורא התעצבנה. אני שאלתי אותה מה צריכה לטוס. היא אפילו לא ענתה לי. לא בא בחשבון לא לטוס. הייתי אומרת לה, שאנחנו אוהבים אותה. אוהבים אותה ונאהב אותה עד הסוף.
Sergeant Karen Tendler is an inspiration to the entire country of Israel and to the next generation of young women in the IDF. To memorialize Tendler's accomplishments, the Tendler Scholarship Fund was created to encourage women to study flight mechanics.
Karen was a pioneer for women in the IDF. Her tenacity and enthusiasm to serve her country serves as an inspiration to all, even after her death. Yehi Zichra Baruch.
Nashon Waxman was born on April 3, 1975, in Jerusalem to Esther and Yehuda Waxman, the third of 7 boys. On entering the army, Nashon volunteered for an elite commando unit of the Golani Brigade, serving in the Orav Golani.
While at home on leave, Nashon was instructed to attend a one-day training course in northern Israel. He was last seen by a friend who reported that after completing the training, Waxman had been dropped off at the Bnei Atarot junction. On October 9, 1994, Hamas abducted Nashon from the junction in central Israel and held him hostage for 6 days.
2 days later, a videotape was broadcast across Israel showing Nashon with his hands and feet bound before a Hamas militant. In the video, Nashon said that Hamas was demanding the release of Sheikh Ahmed Yassin, a spiritual leader, and another 200 prisoners. If this was not done by Friday night, he would be executed. Here is that video, as well as a video of what happened in the days after the release of that video.
אני נחשון וקסמן. החבר'ה החמאס פה חטפו אותי, הם רוצים לשחרר את האסירים שלהם.
We were mobilized 24 hours around the clock to do everything in our power to help our son, to get him freed. We called all world leaders. On Friday, the entire press came into the house. I lit the candles. We asked, by the chief rabbi's request, he had asked everybody in the world to please say 3 chapters of Tehillim, of Psalms, for our son. Here at the Kotel, there were over 100,000 people, Hasidim in peot and black garb, with their arms around kids in torn jeans and an earring and a ponytail. Everyone sobbing, everyone together, everyone praying for this one precious Jewish soul. There was amazing unity and solidarity, which also gave us strength to cope with the news we got Friday night. Israel intelligence had located the house where Nashon was being held. The military action went through. Nashon was killed. We spent all of Shabbat with this, knowing we were going to bury our son Saturday night.
The Israeli secret police learned that Nashon was being held in the village of Bir Nabala, a location under Israeli control located only 10 minutes away from Waxman's home in the Ramat neighborhood of Jerusalem. That Friday night, a rescue team composed of elite IDF commandos from the Sayeret Matkal Special Forces Unit carried out an operation to free Waxman.
During that operation, 3 gunmen were killed and 2 taken prisoner, while the leader of the IDF commando team, Captain Nir Poraz, was killed and 9 commandos were wounded. Nashon was found dead in the room.
Nashon was described as a true optimist, always smiling, helping and supporting his family and friends, an honest and kind person. He believed in the goodness of people and loved everyone. Today, Beit Nashon at the Shalva Center in Jerusalem, an association for mentally and physically challenged children, is dedicated in Nashon Waxman's memory. Yehi Zichro Baruch.
Mira Zosky and Re'u Cohen will now sing Kasher Lev Bocheh.
אדם נופל לפני שהוא שוקע, בתפילה קטנה חותר את הדממה. שמע ישראל אלוקיי, אתה כל יכול. נתת לי את חיי, נתת לי הכל. בעיניי דמעה, הלב בוחר שקט, ושהלב שותק, הנשמה זועקת. שמע ישראל אלוקיי, עכשיו אני לבד. חזק אותי אלוקיי, כשהלב בוחר, הזמן עומד מלכת. האדם רואה את כל חייו פתאום. על מקום נודע, הוא לא רוצה ללכת. נראה לו קו קורא סוף תהום. שמע ישראל אלוקיי, אתה כה יכול. נתת לי את חיי, נתת לי הכל. בעיניי דמעה, הלב בוכה בשקט. כשהלב שותק, הנשמה זועקת. שמע ישראל אלוקיי, עכשיו אני לבד. חזק אותי אלוקיי, עשה שלא אפחד. הכאב גדול ואין לאן לברוח. עשה שיגמר, כי לא נותר בי כוח. שמע ישראל אלוקיי, אתה הכל יכול. נתת לי את חיי, נתת לי הכל. בעיניי דמעה, הלב בוכה בשקט. כשהלב שותק, הנשמה זועקת. שמע ישראל אלוקיי, עכשיו אני לבד. חזק אותי אלוקיי, עשה שלא אפחד. הכאב גדול ואין לאן לברוח. עשה שיגמר, כי לא נותר בי כוח. עשה שיגמר, כי לא נותר בי כוח.
Hadar Goldin was 23 when he was murdered by Hamas terrorists while serving as a lieutenant in the Givati Brigade of the IDF. Hadar was born in Eshar, Israel in 1991 to Leah and Simcha Goldin and had a twin brother Tzor, older brother Hemi, and older sister Ayelet, whom he is survived by. Hadar liked to paint and create graphic art where he would address both secular and religious themes. He was always happy and consistently inspired others. He was known as a people person, and he firmly believed in the importance of sharing joy and friendship among all people. Please turn your attention to the screen for a short video about Hadar.
ההפרש ביני לבין הדר הוא 5 דקות. בחיים היינו צמודים, כל רצף החיים היינו ביחד. הוא היה מדריך בבני עקיבא לחבורה של שבט של מופרעים. אבל משהו ביכולת המאוד מיוחדת הזאת, לקחת את הבן אדם שמולך, להעריך אותו ולהוציא משמעות מכל צעד שהוא עושה, לדעת לתת לו ביטחון ולקחת את זה הלאה. וזו הייתה אווירה אצל החניכים שלו, זו הייתה אווירה בצוות, וזה היה מאוד מאוד מורגש במכינה.
הדבר הראשון והבולט ביותר לגבי הדר גולדין זה קודם כל השמחה. פצצת האנרגיה נכנסת לחדר, כשאתה נותן שיעור והדר נמצא, אתה ידעת שאתה לא יכול למרוח, לא יכול לטייח. הוא מיד יעלה על זה וישאל את השאלה הנוקבת, אז בזה הוא העלה תמיד את הרמה.
גיליתי אדם, מפקד, ענב, צנוע, אבל מהצד השני נגד מלא בתעצומות נפש, בעל יכולת חברתית מרשימה להכיל, עם אהבה גדולה לחייליו, מודל לחיקוי.
אני זוכר אותו מתקשר אליי ביום שבו הייתה הלוויה של 3 הנערים אחרי שמצאו אותם. הוא אמר לי, תשמע, אנחנו בלוויה, אנחנו לא בדיוק מצליחים להיכנס כי יש פה הרבה אנשים. נראה לי שאני אסע לירושלים והיום אני אצא לידנה נישואים. אני אמרתי לו, הדר, זה קצת, דווקא ביום הזה, זה קצת יום עצוב. והדר אמר לי, כן, דווקא בתקופה הזאת, שבה אנשים קצת עצובים, אני רוצה להזכיר לכולם למה אנחנו פה, ולשמח את כולם.
When they entered the army, he and his twin brother together embroidered the words of Chozek va'anava, strength and humility, on the belts of their rifles, in order to define the characteristics of a Jewish fighter who has the courage to use their weapon when needed, but also has the humility to restrain from its use in the service of peace. Hadar was supposed to marry his fiancée Edna 2 weeks after he was murdered. On August 1st, 2014, Hadar was on a mission inside of a terrorist tunnel where he was shot and killed by 2 terrorists. The terrorists kidnapped his body and still remain with it today. Soldiers were able to find pieces of Hadar's uniform inside of the tunnel. His family continues to pray for his return to Israel where he can have the proper burial. Yehi Zichoro Baruch.
Devir Sorek was an 18-year-old yeshiva student at Machanayim. He was one of Yoav and Rachel's, Sorek's 6 children. Sorek loved gardening. He would always plant plants outside his house and tend his gardens. His friends and his teachers said that he was a gentle and kind-hearted person. It was said that he would not harm anything, not even a bug. We will now hear some words about Devir from his mother and his Rav.
הוא הגיע לכאן מאזורים, ובאמת הוא היה שונה בנוף. חריג בנוף, גם עם הפאות העגולות שלו, שזה לא בדיוק כך שהחבר'ה שם נראים, וגם מבחינת השורשיות שלו, הגיע מאדם מאוד מאוד אדמתי, למקום שנורא אינטלקטואלי כזה, וזה לא רק שהוא הגיע מרקע כזה, הוא התחיל לגדל פה את הערוגות של הירקות.
אנחנו נוטים עצים, רוצים לעשות פה חורשה, ליישב את ארץ ישראל, שיהיה פה יער נחמד, שאנשים יוכלו לשבת.
והנה תמונה שכל החבר'ה הצטלמו, נראה לי בסוף השביעית או השמינית. וכל אחד מהחברים כתב משהו שבעיניו מייצג אותו. איש אדמה, נשמה טהורה, חסיד אמיתי, האדם הטוב ביותר שפגשתי, שהוא כתב פה למעלה.
אחרי שנה שכבר הם היו בישיבה, אז המורה סיפר שהוא ביקש ככה כדי להכיר את הקבוצה, להבין מה קורה שם, אז הוא ביקש מכל אחד לרשום 2 ילדים שהם החברים הכי טובים שלו. הוא אמר שבערך חצי מהילדים רשמו את דביר. ובאמת במהלך השבעה שמענו עוד הרבה סיפורים כמה בשעה של מצוקה שהם היו צריכים מישהו לשתף אותו, ושממש הוא היה כתובת בשבילם, והם זוכרים עד היום את השיחה הזאת וכמה שהיא הייתה משמעותית להם.
שנה שעברה, תוך כדי שקצת אחרי תחילת השנה, חליתי בסרטן, והייתי מאוד חלש רוב השנה. השתדלתי להיות כאן, לא להפסיד את הישיבה, אבל הייתי מאוד חלש, וכל בוקר חיכה לי כוס תה עם צמחים טריים מהגינה שלו. הכין לי כוס תה ככה, וזה פשוט, זה נתן לי כוח פעמיים, גם כפשוטו הייתי ממש זקוק לכוס תה הזאת, ועוד יותר שמישהו רואה אותי, מישהו רואה תלמידים, שזה כאילו דיסטנס כזה, וככה הוא רואה אותי ואכפת לו ממני, זה פשוט היה לי...
As his year in yeshiva was ending, he wanted to buy a sefer for his Rav as a sign of thanks. On his way back from Yerushalayim, 100 meters before entering a controlled area of Migdal Oz, a car pulled up behind him and blocked his passage. It is believed that he was pushed to the side of the road and stabbed to death by 2 brothers, 24-year-old Nazir Saleh Khalil Atafra and 30-year-old Qasim Araf Khalil Atafra. When his parents first found out about his missing, they were not worried at all. They thought he had either missed the bus or fallen asleep and missed his stop. But after 2 hours, when there was no sign of Devir, they understood what happened. His death hit the family even harder, since sadly, Devir's grandfather was also killed by Palestinians during the Second Intifada. Today, Devir's parents have created a garden right inside his hometown of Ofra to emulate his love of gardening. They plant trees and plants in hopes that his roots will stay and impact this world forever. Yehi Zachor Baruch.
For the second part of today's program, please turn your attention to the screen for a video about those who were killed in acts of terror in Israel since the last Yom Hazikaron.
הלב שלי נקרע לשניים, מה שלא ראתה שפחה למים, כמו סופה מן הים עולם.
A bitter ending to the latest major terror attack. 19-year-old Israeli student Yehuda Gweta succumbing to his critical injuries Wednesday night following a drive-by shooting attack at the Tepuach Junction in the West Bank. And the funeral taking place Thursday morning in Kiryat Moshe. Friends from the yeshiva describing Gweta as a quiet and gentle person who liked to tell jokes. But Gweta was survived by his parents and 6 siblings, one of the 3 Israelis injured in the attack, all 19-year-old students at a nearby religious seminary.
That's Israel firing missiles into northern Gaza as Hamas fires over 45 rockets aimed towards Jerusalem. This is according to new reporting now from the IDF, that's the Israeli Defense Force. It comes as tensions continue to ratchet up in the region following what has been a weeks-long new spate of military conflict.
הלב שלי נקרע לשניים, חציו השם וחציו לשם שמיים, כמו סופה מן הים עולם, כמו תופעה של מרים פועם, ואין תרופה בעולם ללב. ורק אתה יכול להפוך מספדי למחול, לזכך את החול, לרכך בי הכל. לגשת ללב שלי, משכך כל כאב שבי, מרפא את הלב. יש אוצר שמציק לצור, ואין ציר שיצק לצור, רק אני מול ים שלם ולב שבור. ורק אתה יכול להפוך מספדי למחול, לזכך את החול, לרכך בי הכל.
Amateur video appears to show a wounded man lying on the ground. Israeli police on Sunday said a Palestinian gunman armed with a submachine gun opened fire, killing 1 civilian and injuring another before Israeli police shot him dead.
Less than an hour ago, we had a very difficult case here.
Israel's Interior Security Minister Omar Bar-Lev was at the scene where he spoke to Reuters.
Part of the Hamas terrorist group came here and and he shot 2 civilians that were here.
I'm Tisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Friday, December the 17th, 2021. An Israeli man murdered last night in a terror attack in the West Bank was laid to rest today. Hundreds gathered to pay their final respects to 25-year-old Yehuda Dementman, who was a student at a yeshiva in the Chomesh outpost. He and 2 friends were leaving Chomesh last night when their vehicle came under fire by Palestinian terrorists. Dementman was shot in the neck and died at the scene. The other 2 with him were lightly injured from glass.
בגוף עייף מכישלונות, בלב שבור לחתיך.
grim night here in Beersheba in southern Israel, where an attack earlier in the day, a combined car ramming and stabbing attack, left 4 Israelis dead and a number of others wounded. The attacks began at a gas station a ways away from here, on the outskirts of Beersheba, where the assailant got up and brutally stabbed a woman to death before continuing on in his vehicle, ramming into a rider on a bicycle, and then coming to this strip mall, where he stabbed a number of other pedestrians before being shot dead by a civilian at the scene who happened to be armed. The assailant himself, Muhammad Ghalib Abu al-Kiyan, was a resident of Hura, here in the Negev, himself a Bedouin Israeli, who had in the past tried to sign up for the Islamic State and even tried to travel to Syria, had been condemned in an Israeli court and had served 4 years in prison before being released, potentially having been under surveillance by the authorities, but unfortunately not enough to prevent the attack tonight.
בגוף עייף מכישלונות, בלב שבור לחתיכות, מחכה לך שתקבל פנינו. בך קראנו בלילות, ועוד נצעק ברחובות, בכם עלינו אבא הושיענו, הושיענו.
Middle East. 5 people were killed in a new attack in Israel, extending the country's worst outbreak of violence in years. Police say they killed the gunman who shot those people last night. He's identified as a Palestinian from the West Bank. Israeli forces there have arrested 5 other suspects. And as Roxana Saberi reports, this series of killings is raising new concerns ahead of next month's important religious holidays.
Video aired on Israeli TV appears to show the gunman firing an assault rifle at a bicyclist who races away, then shouting at a passing driver to stop, opening fire and causing the car to crash. Israeli police say the shooter drove on to another nearby location.
Police who found him, shot him, killed him, and stopped this massacre.
He left behind 5 victims and scenes of chaos and anger.
עולמות ונשמות ואת ארצו היחידה, גם כי ילך בגיא צל מוות לבדי, לא ירא לא אפחד, כי אתה עמדי, שבטך ומשענתך המה ינחמוני, ולא אהיה יותר ירא, כי שומר עליי.
And now to breaking news in Israel. What appears to be another terrorist attack has left 2 dead and several other injured.
The gunfire erupting in a busy area of Tel Aviv. CBS 2's Andrea Klein-Thomas in our newsroom now with the latest. Andrea.
Well, those shots were fired during the evening hours in a crowded area where there are bars and restaurants in central Tel Aviv. First responders received reports of shootings at multiple locations. Now, this video shows the chaotic aftermath outside one of the establishments. According to an Israeli hospital, at least 2 people were killed and 8 others injured, many of them seriously. Another video shows law enforcement running to a scene. Now, this comes amid mounting tensions between Israelis and Palestinians.
Welcome to the I-24 News Desk. I'm Panita Levine, coming to you live from Tel Aviv. News just in here in the Middle East. The military wing of Hamas has claimed responsibility for the shooting attack in Ariel in the West Bank late last week, in which a security guard was killed. 23-year-old Vyacheslav Golev was killed by 2 Palestinian terrorists, while guarding the West Bank settlement. He shielded a fellow security guard, his fiancée, who survived the attack. The Al-Qassem's brigade saying in an official statement just a short while ago that the attack was in response to what it calls Israel's barbaric aggression on the Al-Aqsa Mosque and against its worshippers.
We are now going to rise for the Misha Berach for Chayalei Tzahal, followed by a parak of Tehillim, Kel Mali Rahamim, and Hatikva.
Misha Berach Avotinu Avraham Yitzchak v'Yaakov. Hu yivarech et Chayalei Tzva Haganal Yisrael v'anshei kochot habitachon. Haomdim al mishmar artinu v'arei Elohinu. Migvol Lebanon ve'ad mibar Mitzrayim, umina yam hagadol ad levo harava, uvchol makom shehem bayabasha ba'avir uvayam. Yiten Adonai et oivenu hakamim aleinu nigafim lifnehem. Hakadosh Baruch Hu yishmor v'yatzil et chayalenu, mikol tera v'tuka umikol nega machala, v'yishlach bracha v'tocha b'chol ma'aseh yedehem. Yad bersonenu tachtehem, v'yatrem b'chater Yeshua uv'adherent nitachon, v'kuyam b'hem hakatuv, ki Adonai Elohechem ha'olech imachem lilachem lachem, imay v'echem le'oshiatchem v'nomar amen.
Shila Malo, Tesai Nayalari, Mayayin of Yoazri. Ezri, Mayim Adonai, Yoseh, Shemaim Varetz. Al Yitain, Lamot Raglecha, Yodim, Shamrecha. Hine, Loyanum, Veloishan, Shomer, Yisrael. Anai shomerecha, anai tzilcha, al yad yaminecha. Yomam hashemesh lo yakeka, ve'areach b'layla. Anai yishmercha mikora, yishmor et nashecha. Anai yishmor et teitcha v'uecha me'ata v'yad olam.
El Malei Rachamim Shochein Bamiromim Hamitzei Menucha Nechona Al Kanfei HaShechina B'ma'alos Kidoshim Teorim Giborim Kizohar Horakia Mazhirim Linishmos Chayalei Tzva Haganal Yisrael V'lochamei HaMachtaros Shenaflu B'milchamos Yisrael V'chol HaLochamim B'marchosam Shecharfu Nafsham Lamusa Kedushas Hashem Uve'ezras Elohei Marchos Yisrael Heviu Liskumas Ha'uma V'hamedina B'ligulas Aretz V'yirho Elohim V'chol Eile Shenirtzichu Lachein Baal Harachamim Yastirein B'seiser Knafav Liolamim V'yitzror b'yitzror ha'chayim es nishmasam. Adonai hu nachalasam. B'gan Eden temenu chasam. V'yanuchu b'shalom mishkavam. V'yamdu l'garalam l'kates hayamin. V'nomar amen.
We're now going to daven mincha in here. I'm going to ask that all males move to the right side of the stage and all females move to the left side of the stage. We can turn the lights on and Caesareem will be passed out.
Okay, we're going to daven mincha now. As a reminder, since tomorrow is actually Yom Hazikaron, we do not say Tachnun. We're going to do Heichi Kedusha at Shmona Esrei. Begin with Ashrei. Ashrei Ashrei Tach.
See last night our Viva Jacob Sashikashov Avenach Rahamim Lamlia Israel Sashaba Biam Divakis Viamli Jose Khon Khajov Israel Baglavis Makri Ramen Israel Rachlam Maya Israel Rakus Israel Mamis Nase Israel Israel Shmedi Shabrichu Lamko Khasav Jasa Jishkhasav Nakwasa Damriam Ramen Baruch Adonai Eloheinu V'Seinu Elohei Avraham Yitzchak V'Yaakov Elohei Gibor Ra El Yom Gamachzim Tavim Kaneko, Vizocher Chazev, Osmiviko, Nevanem, Matrob Yava, Melachozir Mashim Magim Baruch Adonai, Magin Avraham, Artar Lamanai, Mechemisim Atarav, Shia, Mechakachai, Mechazim, Mechemisim Racham Rabim, so Mechmovim Verfechli Matis Rim, Mekayam and Soshnafar, Michamach Bavros Midamalach, Machmivit Umechayam Atmech Yeshua, Venamanat Alachos, Mesim Baruch Adonai, Mechayam Mesim. Nekadesh Shabalam Kishim Shrak Jim Subshram Kakazuva Yanviacha Karazel Zevyamar Kadosh 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 Nightos Mokolar to Olam Summer Khamiru Baruch Kavod Nam Kamo Vidrekachaka Zuvimor Yimo Hananala Maxin Ledovador Halia Ledovador Ngilacha Unasa Nesakim Kidusha Sanatish Kakal Enemy Pinulo Mishlam Bad Kamakado Vekadosh Tabarakatana Ela Kadosh. Yisrael Shashaba, Biyam Devir Sorek, Yom Hazikaron Program, Yom Hazikaron Program, Yehish Rabba Rahamim, Yisrael Visra Misase, Visra Shmedi Kushabrichu, Leila Mego Hasav Shaza, Tushasab Nakamasa, Damir Ramin, Tiska Basason was on the Visra, Kadam Avon Dimishmai Ramin, Yehish Ramin Chamai Vacham and Valkos Ramin, O Sashalom, Ramavia Sashalom, and Valkos Ramin.
Aleinu followed by Kaddish.
Vinem Arvad Nalamachal Kol Aretz by Yom Yadna Chadish Machai.
Thank you to everyone for such a moving program. We're going to go now. You are dismissed. 8th period begins at 2:39.